875 KTGR. The Big Show starts now.
You bet it does. Welcome into Friday's edition of The Big Show on your total sports station, KTGR. Andy Humphrey and Brendan Schaefer here. Oh, what a weekend it just might be for your Missouri Tigers. Wouldn't it be something that around this time tomorrow, we're talking about a win against Alabama? Can you feel it? Can you manifest it? How do you
I'm
feel?
trying.
How do you feel, Brendan?
I feel, just downright bubbly. You know, we've talked about it. We've been thinking about the game for like 3 weeks, being honest, because of the way the schedule lined up. You had the bye week. You had the bye week that wasn't technically a bye week, but it kind of was. And so we've been anticipating this one. And I think now we've kind of seen some of the buzz nationally of other people anticipating this one. And we're ready. I mean, we're as you said, really more like 24 hours away from knowing the outcome. The ball game gets underway in 19 hours, whatever it is. I'm pumped.
Yeah, get ready. Get your predictions ready too. We'll have our predictions coming up in just a few minutes. Who you got, Mizzou or Bama? We'll also talk with Rob Veno of WagerTalk.com at 4:25. All things college football and NFL from the Vegas perspective. Chiefs Lions. Our predictions for that. The SEC rooting guide, which will be very interesting this week.
I think it's big this week. It's maybe debatable on some of them, but I think it's there's a lot of those type of games where you could see them going either way, and how things might impact Mizzou, I think, is always the lens through which we view a lot of this.
And then our picks of the week at 5:45. Lots to get to today, so hop in with a call or a text at 875-KTGR or on our YouTube channel at KTGR Sports, where we're live right now. You can also find us on Facebook at facebook.com/KTGR Big Show and on Twitter at KTGR Big Show. Looks like it's still a questionable tag for one Caden Green tomorrow. So we'll see if there's an update tonight in the SEC availability report or 90 minutes before game time when we start to really find out who's in and who's out. But still questionable is Caden Green after yesterday's update. It's an 11 a.m. kickoff tomorrow. First meeting between two top 15 AP teams in Columbia since 1979. Mizzou, number 14, Alabama, number 8. The Yingling Tiger Game Day show begins at 8 a.m. tomorrow right here on KTGR. Hope you join us for it. No injury designation for Xavier Worthy. He practiced in full today, and the Chiefs say, yeah, he's good to go. Just one day where he missed practice yesterday. It looks like he'll be back at it as the Chiefs take on the Lions for Sunday Night Football this weekend at 7:20 on Sunday, and that is the Big Show's big deal on this 10th day of October, 2025. Call or text us here at 875-KTGR. Your predictions for Mizzou-Bama. Yeah.
I'm just at that point where it's like, let's play the game, but I know it's coming so soon that time feels like it's standing still a little bit this afternoon, but we're getting there. It's been a long lead up. It's the game. It is the game that you've earned the ability to say how big it is, right? Like if you don't beat Kansas and South Carolina, when we mapped out this schedule before the season, we were like, respect your opponent, Kansas, big rivalry game. Respect your opponent, South Carolina, revenge game. Couldn't beat them last year at their place. Expected to be pretty good coming into the season, ranked number 12. But like those were stepping stones to this moment, right? If you come into the Alabama game 5-0, there's going to be some juice behind this one. And if you can get over the hump, which frankly, the reason it's so big, Andy, is because for as many things as we have seen progress in such a positive way under the Eli Drinkwitz era, I don't think you've won the big one outside of Ohio State, which people want to, kind of nitpick and say, well, it is a bowl game. They didn't care about it as much as you did. Whatever. I think that's a really big win, but this one's a win where you get it. There's still national implications to it.
I mean, I wasn't even thinking about the Cotton Bowl and the conversation of it's the biggest game in the Mizzou fans' lifetime. Then,
of course not.
As far as what one particular person said, which
he really felt strongly about.
I'm sorry. Later, I got to do it. I'm throwing him under the bus.
Yeah, they throw him under the bus.
Yeah,
I think it's appropriate. I think it's appropriate for people who saw the Twitter exchange. We can get into it if we want again, but It was kind of
450.
happening as the show happened yesterday, which was interesting. But yeah, man, I do think it's such a big game because Mizzou has earned the ability to call it one. Like, you've gotten to this point where everything remains on the line. And what is the number now? 26-5. Is that the record? The last 2.5 seasons? Is that the?
That's it.
It's right up there in the. I don't know where it ranks. Is it top 5 in the country in wins the last 2.5 years? Like,
Something like
Mizzou is absolutely in that mix. But for an outsider that would want to pick it apart, or for a Mizzou fan that would want to say, "Oh, is it real? It feels real," you would look at it and say the opportunities that have been like this one, they haven't gone your way. Last year it was 3 times on the road. I'd say 2 times on the road. South Carolina was a big game, but it wasn't like going to Alabama or going to College Station. That town is such a dump. Those games, you go into those games thinking, man, if you win this one, changes the trajectory of what this season could become. And they lost them both. And they lost them both decisively. You think back to the LSU game, Jaden Daniels in town. You're hanging with him stride for stride, and it falls apart in the end. And you don't. The Georgia game, you go to Athens, and you are in that thing. If they run the football, they're across midfield or close to it. They run the football instead of maybe, it was an ill-advised decision, one Brady Cook would take back, but I really think they were that close to beating Georgia at Georgia in the game I'm referencing. Those are the games that they've lost over the past 3 seasons. That's all of them. And there were opportunities in each of them to maybe do the thing and really kind of announce yourself, assert yourself, so that people could say, yeah, sure, 26 wins, but, where'd you knock off the top 10 team in a conference game? Where'd you plant your flag?
All the buts.
Yeah, and it's not fair. I don't think it's totally fair because in conjunction with
to
that,
a degree it is. I'm not going to fault them from saying like
no, I get it.
But if you're trying to put Mizzou in this top group, then something has to be on the list of things of why. And
gotta win one of these type of games.
Yeah, exactly.
That's fair.
Yeah, so
in the regular season.
And look, if you want Mizzou to be part of that group, this is a chance for you to step into that. At least dip your toe and see like how long can you stay relevant in that realm. Like, you're a relevant team just in general in college football. I think we all can agree on that, but there will be a point in time that if we're just talking about how Mizzou has fared over the course of this run, or even just going back to those years where they were good in 13 and 14, or even before that, there will be a point where people stop calling you relevant because you were not able to get that last step. Or really the step that gets you over the hump. And now you have that opening. But once again,
I don't want to be Penn State. Well, which, by the way, Penn State did something last. Penn State did something. Like, Penn State gets credit for doing these things that they've never really done. I don't know why. Is it because the Big Ten's not really that deep? That's been a real conversation too this week. SEC versus Big Ten. My point with this though, I don't want to be Penn State where you go, their record's always pretty good, but who have they beaten? And Penn State now has to admit to something that Mizzou does not under this run. Mizzou has not lost a single game that they shouldn't have. Not one time.
They were favored. Yes.
In terms of the opponent, in terms of like, that was a letdown to have lost that game based on expectations. Penn State did it last weekend in Pasadena. So, there is something to be said for Eli Drinkwitz has won every single game over the past 3 seasons that his team was supposed to win. They have taken care of business. Now, can they get one rung higher on the ladder and beat a team that I would still say most nationally, if they're looking at this game on their phone this week and going, oh, Mizzou's playing Alabama. Wow, they're hosting that game too. Oh, wow, they're only a 3-point underdog. Can Mizzou win that game is what we're looking to add to the ledger tomorrow morning.
Call or text us 875-KTGR. What adds to it is that it's the first game of the day. It's what everyone will start their college football Saturday with watching.
They'll be watching.
Like that's the thing. And so that's kind of why sometimes 11 a.m. is a favorable TV time. Just saying. Sometimes
you're getting exposure. You're definitely getting exposure with this matchup.
Right. It just depends on how the networks and how everyone decides to position you. And so I think for this, again, we've talked over and over about what Mizzou needs to do, but like the main thing that is just a bar none, have to have it, stat that Mizzou wins, non-negotiable. What is that in this game for you?
Oh, you're asking. I thought you had one. For me, it's the turnover battle. I would say you cannot lose it. I came into the week saying you have to win it, And I've come down from that a little bit because if they play clean, you play clean. All right. Gentlemen's agreement there. But you can't lose the turnover battle, in my opinion. You can't let a turnover tank a drive that could be productive. And if it's a drive that we don't know yet if it's going to be productive, that means you're turning it over and they're basically in the red zone already. You can't make their life any easier than it's going to be, because there will be moments in this game where I shout from section 312, that was too easy, about a Ty Simpson connection to Jeremy Bernard or to Isaiah Horton or to Ryan Williams. That's going to happen once or twice. And I'll have to remember that I talked about it on the radio and say, Brendan, you got to accept it, that they're that good on the other side. The other side, we can say this now about college football. The other side gets paid too, right? We didn't used to be able to say that, but
exactly.
now we can.
Yeah, we definitely
they're getting paid too out there. And in this game,
right.
You can be damn sure that they're getting paid too.
Hey.
So,
yeah.
But that's going to happen. What can't happen is losing this turnover battle, giving up the ball. And frankly, in a moment where you have given it up, you're going to be sitting there in the middle of the third quarter in a one-possession game going, you know what Mizzou really could use right now is a takeaway. And then getting that takeaway if they've already given one up. I think you can't lose the turnover battle. That's number one for me. Number two would probably be whatever you want to assign to Jam Miller's rushing yards. I'm going to say that's got to go Missouri's way as well, because if it becomes easier for the opposing offense to run the ball than it's been so far, which I think it's going to happen to some extent because Mizzou has completely shut it down. I think it's 39.5 yards per game they've allowed on the ground. It's insane what they've been able to do. Yeah. Jam Miller is a really good player. He had a great game against Vanderbilt. I think he's back to full health. I don't think you're going to hold him to 39.5 yards, but can you hold him to 58 on 17 carries and have him be pedestrian? Or is he going to be, it's 1st and 10, 8 yards, 1st and 10, 6 yards, and putting Alabama into those down and distances that are comfortable? Because I think even when Ty Simpson is uncomfortable, he's going to get some 3rd and 12s. He's going to convert the 3rd and 8s. If they make it too easy because Bama can also run the ball, I'm a little bit worried about a defense that'll have to play on its heels. To me, those are the top two things. Turnover battle, opposing rushing attack for Jam Miller in particular, and just the run game. They got to stop the run, which maybe tells you that as the week has progressed, I've gotten a little more pessimistic, because to begin the week, I said, that's got to be a non-starter. You got to stop the run. But as it's gone, I'm realizing, Jam Miller's really good. And if you can't just count that as a given. It's just one of the many things I think Missouri will have to execute to win this game.
Call or text us 875-KTGR with your score predictions for Mizzou-Bama. I'll give you mine, and I think if you ask me, it is higher than both of those. However, it's hard to say that it's more important than the turnover battle. I understand that part of it. It's such a momentum swing.
Right.
But
it's more of a niche stat for me, though.
Right, and it's more out of your control at times too. Sometimes you
avoid mistakes, though. You can
avoid mistakes, but sometimes you need a ball to bounce your way. A fumble on the ground, it bounces straight into somebody's lap. Things like that.
Can I just say, take care of the football? Because I'm okay with tying. I'm okay with tying the turnover thing now.
So you're in control of half of it. Here's another.
You're right.
Here's what I think you are more in control of. And Eli Drinkwitz has said this before, that outcomes of games sometimes are more so decided not by the turnover margin, but by the explosive play margin. And Mizzou is in control of the explosive play margin on both sides of the football. I think they need to win that battle. And that's not just with the passing game. It can be with the run game. Like most of Mizzou's explosive plays come in the run game.
What do we call that? 20+ yards, or what's the metric there?
No, it's a lower floor for running plays. There's different evaluations based on how people view it. I will say the stat program that you see for Mizzou and across the country, really, the stat broadcast says it's 10+ run, 15+ pass.
Okay.
So I think in that metric, if Mizzou is getting more 10+ runs and 15+ pass plays than Alabama in this game, Alabama's probably going to rack up a few 15+ pass plays. It's probably going to happen. But if you can offset that by matching them in the run plays, and then maybe every so often you get Marquise Johnson open, or Brett Norfleet gets wide on that little bootleg play and hurdles a guy and goes for 15 more. Like that type of stuff is going to matter for Mizzou. And I think it actually is more of a determining factor into who wins this game.
Yeah, but part of me says that it's going to be very difficult to win that battle, and I don't think they're out of it if they don't. Like, because I'm expecting Alabama to do that a lot through the air, but I guess the equalizer has to be because it's so difficult to go 1st and 10, 4-yard run, 2nd and 6, 3-yard run, 3rd and 3, execute, and do it all the way down the field without turning the ball over, without stalling out, without having a ball go off a receiver's hands on 3rd and 3rd and 5 when you're in a decent, manageable down and distance, but you just don't execute the play. It's hard to do that, 6 times in a row down the field to get into scoring position. I think you're right, and I think it has to, it can come through the air. I think it largely does need to be that the drum beat is on the ground. While 7 or 8 yard runs will be great, and every time Hardy gets one or Jamal Roberts gets one, I'm going to be pumped up because that's going to put Bo Pribula in positions where he isn't on his heels. He's on the attack. He can be the aggressor because Alabama has to wonder what's coming. Are they going to run it again for 6 yards down our throat, or are they going to break one out here that gets a little creative and this Pribula can make a play because he's got one of the best completion percentages in football? I think to be able to really kind of get on the aggressor status, you need a few popped by Hardy. And it doesn't have to be a 60-yard run every time. But if you're constantly, as a Bama defense, having to go, did we just give up another? It was 1st and 10, and now it's 1st and 10. How did we do that? They ran the ball. Like, that could be demoralizing. And I think provided Missouri sticks with it, that's one thing I don't really worry about. They're going to stick to the run because that's what has gotten them to this point. And it's what, if they're going to get to the next level, it's what's going to get them there too. But I think it's got to be more as the game goes along as well, right? You wear down a defense because they have, they may have a little bit more fun trying to pick you off and trying to, get after the passer. They might not have the opportunity to do so if Mizzou can establish the run. Andy, it was July, it was June, it was May when we were talking about the type of team Missouri would be this year. Be a run-based offense that plays good defense, gets the ball back to their running backs and to that running quarterback that we expected them to use, and they're going to chew up time of possession. Time of possession feels like a given in this game. If it's not, I'm concerned, but it feels as though it's going to be something that benefits Missouri. That's the type of game I think they have to play. It's just so hard. They have to play near perfect. Like, you have to be really, really good on execution here. Yeah, which they have been so far in the clutch, especially under Eli Drinkwitz. They have always come through in the clutch, but this is Alabama. I mean, that's what feels different. Of the 31 games, we remember the 26 wins. We remember the 5 losses, and some of those end up closer than others. And I'd say, man, the Georgia one, the LSU one, and the South Carolina one, you can point to little moments where you go, yep, in the biggest spot, they maybe didn't wrap up Jaden Daniels. They maybe made an errant pass by Brady Cook in Georgia. And so you can remember those moments and say, we didn't wrap up. Johnny Walker didn't get Lenore Sellers to the ground. It's like the moments where the game's on the line, and I think they'll be close enough when you get to the fourth quarter that happens. You've got to execute in those moments if you want to be the team that rises above and climbs one more rung on the ladder of this hierarchy in the SEC, this hierarchy in the national landscape. It's just about executing in those moments.
Adam agrees. Off our texter, time of possession is key. We run and keep running, we win. And look, you talk about mistakes. Mizzou does have to be almost mistake-free. It might just a win might just require Alabama to make a couple anyway, though. Like that's kind of how this feels too. Like
I actually don't agree.
If both teams make the same number of mistakes, Alabama wins. If
both teams bring their A game, I believe Missouri can still win. I don't think the only way Missouri wins is if Bama lets them. But okay. I don't think Missouri. I'm not ready to concede anything to Alabama. It's not Saban's Alabama. It is a very good Alabama. I think they're one of the best, probably 6 or 8 teams in the country. But I'm not conceding that Missouri isn't those things as well. I haven't seen anything yet to tell me that they're not. But the ramp up is as significant as I'm trying to make it to be. Like, to go from South Carolina to Bama, you're skipping a couple of steps. Like, you're skipping an Auburn caliber team. You're skipping a Florida caliber team in that range. You're skipping a Tennessee, in my opinion. Like, I think Alabama's gotten it done to the level, and I think they're balanced on both sides of the ball enough that it's like there are going to be some things we don't know about how does Mizzou stack up against XYZ when the opponent is a top 10 team in the country. And that's where it gets a little bit dicey. but I'm not conceding that Missouri isn't also those things, if that makes sense.
Okay. And that's very possible. They just have to, for me, show it in order to get that benefit of the doubt across the country for sure. For those types of games, if they want to break through. And look, this is their opportunity. Can they get it done? Your score predictions, text them to us, 875-KTGR. Comment on our YouTube channel at KTGR Sports. All right, what is it? What is it?
Oh, boy. It's going to be a game that goes down to the wire. I'm going Missouri 30, Alabama 24, which is maybe a bigger margin than you expect, but I could also see it's like 24-23 Bama. Mizzou's driving. It's 4 minutes, and you've got to chew up that 4 minutes, and you ain't trying to run your field goal kicker out there sort of vibe. So don't get caught up in the score that I'm saying they're going to win by 6. Mizzou's going to win this game by a possession.
I think Mizzou wins 34-31.
Missed extra point or a field goal made? Or a couple of field goals, I guess it would be.
A couple field goals made.
Not a missed extra point.
Robbie Meyer will get it done.
Robbie Meyer's got, look, I had an eerie confidence in Robbie Meyer in that South Carolina spot where you had to have it. Frankly, you had to have it because I think if you miss it, the momentum that put on their defense would have been such that you're going,
yeah,
you're on your heels. Kind of like Brady Cook to Luther Burden, and then South Carolina can march down the field. At some point in that South Carolina drive, there wasn't any rhyme or reason for it. I think it was just the collective realization that they had enough time to do what they were going to need to do.
Mm-hmm.
There was a point when they got to around midfield, probably the play where Johnny Walker doesn't bring down Sellers, where you go, And I feel like if they had missed that kick, South Carolina could have done the same thing. And they'll need Robbie Meyer in this game. We've said it's been a very common trope, and I've heard it said other places. There's going to be a game this year where you need the kicker. It could be this week, and we say it like almost every week.
Well,
I mean,
these
this
are the
feels
hard
like
games.
if it's
These are the hard games.
The one, right?
These are the one possession games most likely coming up. The 7-game stretch that Mizzou is about to hit. These are the most likely games where that will happen. So it's fine.
You know
that
what?
We haven't said that yet and hasn't come to fruition yet. But
you know what else they're going to need is they're going to need a 4th and 7 at some point when it feels like was the Alubade catch 4th and 7 or 4th and 10? I don't remember exactly the distance, but it was like 9. It was one of those where you go, really?
They've had a couple of 4th downs to convert in that Kansas game that were very key. Yeah.
There's going to be a 4th down, and it ain't going to be 2. That's all I'm saying. Yeah. And there'll probably be some 4th and 2s as well. They're going to have to execute. They've been so good on 3rd down, though, Andy. That's what's crazy is like percentage-wise, Mizzou on 3rd down has been among the best in the country. Every stat that we could throw out from the resume, you understand that they're real, but you also have to sit back and say, how does it translate? Because step 1 and 2 have been passed. This is the 3rd game of the year, and it is the ramp up. It's not on the road, so it's not quite as big of a jolt to go, all right, we're going to Texas A&M, whereas last year it was like Boston College, Vanderbilt. I'm trying to remember the wins prior to that A&M trip, but this is the one where it's like it's a jump, but it's a jump you can land because you're in your own building. You've got to feed off that energy and play largely mistake-free football. But if they play an A game, they win the game. That's my take. I don't care what Alabama does. Mistakes can also include, Andy, we've seen this a couple of times, balls in your chest. You're a linebacker or a defensive back, and you don't pick off Ty Simpson because he makes one errant throw in the game. If he makes an errant throw and it hits you in the numbers, you have to catch that football. I think you got away with it in the other games because I think in both Kansas and South Carolina, we saw moments where you go, ooh, that was almost a pick. Oh, maybe I'm asking too much for him to have picked that off, but I really wish he did. Those plays might have to be made in this game because I don't think you get too many second chances with that.
Call or text us 875-5847. Give us your score predictions for Mizzou-Alabama coming up tomorrow at 11 a.m. We'll have our Yingling Tiger Game Day show at 8 a.m. Be sure to join us for all of that. In the meantime, here on the Big Show KTGR, let's get Rob Veno's thoughts on this game of wagertalk.com and see where he's leaning for a game like this where Mizzou's a 3-point dog at home. Robbie joins us next to talk some football with us on the Big Show KTGR.
Miss the latest edition of The Big Show? Catch up on demand with a full show podcast on the KTGR app. Download it now, wherever you get your apps.
Go, go, go! Sir, the bugs have taken over the entire neighborhood. They took out the Thompsons, the Joneses, and the Smiths. I don't know how much longer we can hold on. Calm down, soldier. Reinforcements are on the way. Holy protector of pest control.
Steve's Pest Control is currently en route.
As the season changes, you may notice spiders, wasps, and mice trying to enter your home. But don't worry, the pros of Steve's Pest Control are ready for battle. Before the fall invasion attacks your property, calmly, quietly, pick up your phone and call us at Steve's Pest Control. We've been protecting businesses, homes, and neighborhoods all over Central Missouri for years, and we can protect yours too. I'm Steve with Steve's Pest Control. We will eliminate your pest problem and stop the fall pest invasion. I guarantee it.
Now you got a friend in the pest control business. Steve's Pest Control.
Buckeye is fired up for Tiger football as Mizzou takes on Alabama October 11th. Gear up with unbeatable deals on everything you need for tailgating, fall essentials, and all things farm, ranch, auto, home, and pet. Join the Buckeye Buyers Club for even more savings. And keep the winning spirit going all season long. Buckeye, your farm, ranch, auto, home, pet, and outdoor living destination. Join us 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Friday, October 10th at Buckeye 3910 South Providence Road, Columbia. Go Tigers!
I'm Michael Agnew with API Project Fitness. At API, we're dedicated to helping you reach your fitness goals with workouts that are motivating, challenging, and effective. Our group classes are high energy and designed to maximize your time with efficient movements and smooth flow. There are real results here to find, whether you're just starting out or ready to push it to the next level. API is where hard work meets progress. Everyone needs a fitness routine. Let us be yours. Sign up today for a free trial at apiprojectfitness.com.
Hungry for the best wings, burgers, and tacos in Central Missouri? Head to JQ's on High in the historic east side of downtown Jefferson City. With vegetarian and gluten-free options, there's something for everyone. And the patio's open for summer. Planning an event? Let JQ's bring the flavor with catering and our full-service food truck. Find us on Facebook at jqsonhigh.com or email us at jqsonhigh@gmail.com with any questions. JQ's on High. Real food, real people, real good.
Winter's on the way, so now's the time to plan your tree pruning. Here's why. In winter, trees are dormant, which means there's less risk of disease. Plus, without all those leaves, it's way easier to see exactly what needs trimming. The educated, licensed, insured, and experienced crew at Advanced Tree Solutions knows how to protect your trees and your wallet. But spots are filling fast, so schedule your winter pruning today at AdvancedTreeSolutionsLLC.com. Advanced Tree Solutions, LLC, your tree's best friend.
Macadoodles does selection like nobody else. If you're looking for ingredients to make the perfect new drink, look no further. Why settle for boring? Macadoodles has you covered. With Columbia's widest variety of beer, wine, and spirits, you're sure to find something new and exciting when you shop with Macadoodles. Come experience the difference in selection at Macadoodles today. Macadoodles delivers world-class customer service and unmatched selection at unbeatable prices. Who does selection like nobody else? Macadoodles does.
Your daily fix of local sports lives here. This is The Big Show on KTGR.
We're back here on The Big Show, KTGR and the KTGR app. Andy and Brendan here as we get set for a big football weekend. Of course, Tide and Tigers going to kick off at 11 a.m. tomorrow, top 15 matchup. And here to talk with us about that game and several others across college and the NFL from the Vegas perspective, Rob Veno of WagerTalk.com. Go and follow him on Twitter at Rob Veno Sports. And WagerTalk.com is a great place to go for all the betting angles for these games. I mean, with the way that Mizzou has played this year and the matchup that Alabama presents. Alabama, look, they've looked a lot better here over the last few weeks, but it's not an impermeable force exactly. Mizzou has every chance of winning this game, but how much value do you see in actually putting that pen to paper and that pick on your slip, if in fact that's what you want to do in your jurisdiction of legality there, Robbie?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. The money has flowed in on Missouri. Game open 4.5. We're looking at, it looks like mostly threes universally now. Alabama -3. You can catch a straight 3.5 in places. But I agree with the line movement, guys. And I'll tell you, from college football becomes so situational at this time of year. again, you're dealing with 18 to 22-year-olds, and even older in some cases. I know there's a lot of sixth-year seniors out there, maybe even seventh. But the idea being for Alabama, 2 weeks ago they got all fired up to go to Georgia and play Kirby Smart's team, and they walked out with a win. Come back home, once again, get all fired up to get their revenge against Diego, Pavia, and Vanderbilt. They get their revenge. That's 2 weeks in a row, max effort exhibited by Alabama. Now on the road to Missouri, where Missouri's lying in wait, and in all honesty, could be, we'll see, time will tell, could be at least equal to Georgia, maybe the best team of these three. And they have to lay points as a road favorite. I don't know that Alabama, and I like the way you mentioned, Andy, that they're just not, in simpler terms, the Alabama that they used to be. In other words, there's no huge physical advantage when Alabama lines up against Mizzou anymore. Mizzou's got the rotational depth on both sides of the line. They're big, they're strong, and Hardy's going to play. He's in some places being compared to Ashton Genty at this point. Fabula has played great quarterback. So it's really, on paper, it seems to be a kind of a stalemate matchup, and you have the home team taking points. So I understand why people did take the points there. I would do the same. 3 is tough because if it lands on a field goal, you push, but you'd rather push than lose. So for me, I just think Missouri's in a really good situational spot, and I think that the matchups, fundamental-wise, the 11 or 22 that are going to be on the field, Mizzou stands up a little bit stronger than they have in past years.
Robbie, I want to get the take from you on the total for this game, because it seems to me that if you look at Missouri and what it does well on the ground, that can maybe bode well against Alabama's weakness in the run defense. But the inverse is true. Alabama's passing offense could have an advantage against Mizzou's secondary. Does that spell points for you when it comes to the game total?
It really should. The only thing you worry about is maybe an early time start, 11 o'clock a.m., I believe, for you guys. But that being said, I don't know. I think Mizzou obviously will be prepped for it. Alabama comes from the same time zone. It's not like flying into a new one. So if you push that aside and just want to match up strengths versus weaknesses, like you just pointed out, Brendan, then it makes a heck of a lot of sense at this price to go ahead and play over. I think, there's a lot in college football still where perception takes precedence over reality, where these lines are set. You can find 4, 5, 6 examples every single week of teams that are perceived to be what they were in the past still today when they're really not. So I think that this number is probably a little bit low. Alabama's perceived as a much better defensive team than I think they have been under Kalen DeBoer, and certainly a little more offensive firepower, at least a more wide open playbook with Grubb and DeBoer at the helm.
Rob Veno of WagerTalk.com with us on the Big Show, KTGR, and the KTGR app. 2 other games, and particularly one in the SEC that will circle here with Oklahoma and Texas. Red River, of course. John Mateer maybe will play for the Sooners as he comes back from that hand injury. But with Texas being a 1-point underdog there, how does the Mateer injury and status for him play into how you look at this game?
He's everything. Honestly, he's everything in that game. If you're going to, at least if you're me and you're going to bet that game, because I think the defenses kind of neutralize each other, guys. Texas has shown it's a quality defense, but it has to hold up quite a bit because they're on the field so much, because the offense just hasn't moved the ball against good defenses this season. Go to the horseshoe. Don't do much offensively against Ohio State. Go to the swamp. Don't do much against Florida offensively. I know Arch Manning showed some signs second half, but really no complete offensive effort and nothing done offensively to protect your defense. Oklahoma under Brett Venables defensively, that's one area where they've really become top-notch again. So like I say, if those two do neutralize each other, and then I want to compare offenses, it's kind of easy for me, guys. John Mateer, and we don't know what percentage of health he'll play at if he plays. But he's the guy I'd rather be on to make a big play at this point in time than Arch Manning. Mateer's going to go all out 100% every single play. He'll make the play himself, where Arch Manning has just shown a little hesitancy and not real good accuracy on a consistent basis. So for me, if Mateer plays, I would probably be on Oklahoma. I think the line move indicates that most think he will play in this game. Should be interesting, but I'd prefer Oklahoma if John Mateer is the starting quarterback.
Rob, I want to ask you generally about some of the other SEC matchups. A lot of times when we're looking to find that right underdog to back, we might be looking at the team that's playing at home. This weekend, though, you do have some road underdogs by, anywhere between 7 and 9 points. That could be frisky. I'm curious, as you look at some of those teams, is there one that stands out to you, like a Florida going on the road or even a South Carolina at LSU in some of those later SEC matchups?
I think those are both live, to tell you the truth, Brendan. South Carolina, mainly because LSU just continues, much like Texas, I guess you could use the same comparison offensively, that LSU was projected behind Garrett Nussmeier to do big things offensively. They haven't done them at all yet. I go back to that second week game against Louisiana Tech where they only scored 23. And, many of us kind of justified it as being a kind of a flat spot in between two big games. And that's why they only scored 23. Maybe they played it close to the vest, but it seems like they're not capable of much more on that side of the field right now. So certainly South Carolina with Lenore Sellers and his playmaking ability and South Carolina's defense. One thing I know for sure, South Carolina is going to give you 60 minutes of effort. And they have a little bit of a revenge angle from last year against LSU in what was a really close, I think like a 36-33 game. Florida, who knows, guys? I mean, once again, Billy Napier gets himself off the hot seat for a little bit here. They did have a little bit of a revelation last week. Dallas Wilson played wide receiver for the first time this year, and it seemed like that sparked the Florida offense in that game against Texas. So maybe Florida down the backstretch here will be a better offensive team. One more I'll give you just to look at, and simply from situationals, I don't know that you can back it up much fundamentally. Maybe you can. But coaching changes always kind of breed a good first effort out of your team. And Arkansas marching into Tennessee with Bobby Petrino as the head coach, they fire half the defensive staff. You would think that if there's going to be a rise up out of Arkansas, especially on the defensive side, it would be in this game. I don't know that I can buy into that because Josh Heupel's team is so good offensively. But I kind of think Taylor Green and company could match them stride for stride, at least play inside that big number, double-digit number. So maybe Arkansas in their first game under Bobby Petrino would be considered a pretty live road underdog.
Rob Veno of WagerTalk.com here on the Big Show KTGR. One more college one for you, Robbie. Indiana, Oregon, a battle for, I guess, that the hierarchy of the Big Ten, potentially second in that conference behind Ohio State for now. And it's a 7-point spread. How do you view that game here this weekend?
That one in particular, I like the over, guys. I really feel that, Fernando Mendoza, Dante Moore, it's interesting, right? We start the season, all the quarterback talk around the country is about other quarterbacks. Moore and Mendoza really not on anybody's radar. Now, all of a sudden, nationally draft experts think these are the two best quarterbacks in the nation. That's just the way things play out. But I asked this to another host on another show I was on, guys, and I've been around a long time. And I have to tell you, I don't remember any head coach within, let's call it an 18-game span, 18, 19 games, whatever it's been, that's come into a power conference, taken the doormat of the league, and risen them to a spot where they're actual contenders. I mean, the contenders in the Big Ten are Oregon, Ohio State, and Indiana. Maybe Michigan's in the wings. What Curt Cignetti has done has gone so, I don't want to say totally under the radar, but I don't think he gets enough recognition. My idea is when I watch this team, they can score on anybody. Oregon has not been tested by an offense like this. Same being said for the Indiana defense. I know they both have gaudy-looking defensive numbers right now, but that plays into where the total's at. And I think the total in this matchup is probably too low. I think it's going to be an up and down the field type of game. So I like over between Indiana and Oregon.
Rob Veno of WagerTalk.com here on the Big Show KTGR. Chiefs Lions now, as we go to the NFL, it seemed that the Chiefs had it in hand in Jacksonville for a lot of that game, but then it kind of happened quickly on them that it spirals out of control and they're unable to come up with a game that they seemed to at least dominate on the stat sheet, but couldn't quite get in the final score. Now as the Lions come to town, it seems like an unstoppable force that they have to deal with there. Chiefs being favorites, does that surprise you at all with how they have looked?
I'm not sure it surprises me, guys, because they still have that kind of presence in oddsmakers' power ratings. And I will say that I've been a backer of the Chiefs. We've talked about them numerous times on the show here during this Friday segment. I specifically believe in their offense at this point in time. I think the last 2 weeks bear that out. Xavier Worthy's been cleared to play here. Detroit's going to be tested defensively by this Kansas City offense for sure, as is the other side. KC going to be severely tested by Detroit. This total has moved from 48.5 all the way up to 52.5, full 4-point move. You've crossed a couple of key numbers in the 50s, 51 and 52. They're asking you to get to 54 because 53 is kind of a dead number. They're asking you to get to 54 here. And I could see it happening, guys. I really could see it happening here. What we've seen of Kansas City's defense is a little bit of starting to fall off the cliff, and the offense is picking it up. And for Detroit, I mean, pick your poison. Do you want to stop the run? Do you want to stop the pass? You probably can't do both. So I still think there's some wiggle room in that total. And KC is a home favorite, less than 3. And, I'd probably lean that way, but I'd rather not play the side. Total looks more appealing.
Robbie, I want to ask you about the situation for the Green Bay Packers. Like, we kind of came in, saw what they did in the first couple of weeks, and we're very impressed. But the last couple of games haven't been as good, and now they're facing a weird situation with the Bengals planning to start Joe Flacco. The number is massive for this matchup, 2 touchdowns at least. How do you view the Packers at home, and how do you kind of account for the differences we could potentially see with Joe Flacco for Cincy?
You know what? There's 3 or 4 things on Saturdays and Sundays now, Brendan, that I'm just in what we call in the business knee-jerk mechanical reaction, and I just keep playing them. And until I lose a bet, I'm going to keep on playing them. And in this case, it's just don't even look at the game, just a straight fade of the Cincinnati defense. The Green Bay team total is what you would isolate in this game. It's sitting at 28.5. You're going to ask Green Bay to get to the 30-point mark. I don't see any problem with what we've seen out of the Cincinnati defense with that happening. And when you add in the fact that the Penn State defensive line, namely Micah Parsons, Rashawn Gary and company, have a stationary target to tee off on here, I could see the defense contributing as well. So for me, it's not so much a thorough look at the game, the side, any of that. It's just straight Cincinnati's playing, bet the other side's team total over. Once I lose one, I'll probably look the other way. I did mention I do this on Saturdays, too, for those listening. It's Kansas State and Air Force where I'm concerned. You just play those 2 teams over the number. I think we've won 3 straight weeks, 6 straight bets just doing that. You might be able to throw Purdue into that mix, too. I was a little late to the party, but Purdue seems to fit the bill as well.
Robbie, what free pick do you like this weekend?
Goodness. We have so much to choose from, guys, but I will go to tonight's college football to make it interesting for folks. You're going to get a game here early between North Texas and South Florida. Odds makers jacked it all the way up to 67.5, so I'll let that one go, and I'll give you the late game. Rutgers and Washington. Guys, honestly, if I ask you to just identify your first thoughts of Iowa and Minnesota, I guarantee you would tell me not much offense, great defense. Rutgers scored 28 against both of those teams and gave up 69 against those 2 teams. Kind of tells you where I'm headed and which direction I'm headed in here. It's a different Rutgers team with Calic Manis at quarterback. They've been able to score points at will. I think they'll score on Washington tonight, but boy, oh boy, Damon Williams Jr. and company probably do a lot of damage as well. So I went over 60 points in that Rutgers-Washington game. I think that should be fairly easy.
All right, go and check it out. Again, Rob Veno of WagerTalk.com. Great to have him here every Friday on The Big Show. Go and follow him at Rob Veno Sports on Twitter and over at WagerTalk.com as well. Thanks for coming on, Robbie. Enjoy the weekend. We'll talk soon.
Always a pleasure, guys. Thanks for having me.
Big show's on at 446, KTGR and the KTGR app. I love jam-packed segments from Robbie. That was great stuff.
There's a lot to get into, but that's what these weekends are like when you've got college football and the NFL rolling like they are right now.
And we'll have our picks of the week at 5:45. We'll talk some Chiefs Lions, 5:25. Under the Bus is coming up next, though. I got to do it. Sorry. Like this guy, when I read the replies,
what happened
from him, it just didn't line up for me.
Who was he talking to?
Well, a bunch of people. A bunch of people that you probably know. We'll get to that next.
Now, your local sports center update on your total sports station, KTGR.
Good afternoon. I'm Ben Hermes, and this live local sports center is brought to you by Lee's Tire Company. If it's round and rubber, Lee's sells it. Lee'sTireCompany.com. Well, the 14th ranked Missouri Tigers are set to host the Alabama Crimson Tide this weekend. This will be the first AP Top 15 matchup that the Tigers will host since 1979. According to the SEC Student Athlete Injury Report, Tigers offensive lineman Caden Green is listed as questionable for Saturday's game, while Alabama wide receiver Jalen Mbakwe is listed as doubtful. Kickoff against the Crimson Tide from Columbia is tomorrow at 11 a.m. right here on KTGR. The Kansas City Chiefs are looking to get back to 500 on the season as they gear up to take on the Detroit Lions this Sunday. Everyone on the Chiefs injury report was listed as a full participant during Friday's practice, but the game status for everyone on the report is still unspecified. Kickoff from Arrowhead on Sunday Night Football is at 7:20. And the St. Louis Blues dropped the puck on their season last night, but they were blanked by the Minnesota Wild 5-0. They'll be back in action tomorrow as they head north of the border to take on the Calgary Flames. Puck drop for that one is at 3 o'clock. Your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast is with Steve's Pest Control. The fall invasion is here. Call Steve and the pros at Steve's Pest Control today to stop the fall pests from invading your home. Call or go online to stevespestcontrol.com.
I'm Storm Track meteorologist Sawyer Jackson, and clouds are slowly going to dissipate throughout the rest of this evening. Most of us are just going to be staying dry as those temperatures gradually drop into the low 50s by the end of the night. Tomorrow, if you are going to be heading to this Mizzou versus Alabama game, you can expect cool weather during tailgating time. Once we get into the afternoon hours, the temperatures warm up into the mid-70s. It'll be a great afternoon to get outdoors. I'm Storm Track meteorologist Sawyer Jackson, and that's your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast on your total sports station, KTGR.
All the hard hits.
He's under pressure, and down he goes. Inside the 20-yard line.
All the jaw-dropping moments.
Makes a man miss. 30, 20, near sideline, 10, 5, touchdown.
KTGR is your home for the high school football game of the week.
Oh, my goodness.
Join us this weekend as the Rockbridge Bruins host the Battle Spartans.
Coverage starts with high school kickoff, Friday night at 6 on Mid-Missouri's Total Sports Station, KTGR.
Hey, it's Andy and Brendan here with Underdog Fantasy. What a weekend of football that we have in store. And if you're not playing Underdog Fantasy, well, you should start right now. Get in on all of the college and pro picks that you can make with Underdog Fantasy. And Brendan, where are you looking?
Honestly, Andy, I'll stay at home for this one. Mizzou-Alabama on Saturday morning in Como. I honestly think the strengths of both offenses end up playing out in this matchup. So, yeah, I do think Ty Simpson goes higher than 285.5 passing yards against that Mizzou defense, but Ahmad Hardy's going to do his thing. Give me higher than 92.5 rushing yards, pair those together, and you've got yourself an entry on Underdog.
That's a fun one to have when you're sweating out Mizzou's fate, of course, during that Alabama game tomorrow. And be sure to check out all the other picks that you can make, too. You can go to the NFL. You can go to postseason baseball all this weekend. Hockey is back in full swing once again. Lots to choose from in Underdog, and you can play right now in Missouri. Download the Underdog app today and sign up with promo code KTGR to score $100 in bonus funds or bonus entries when you play your first $5. That's promo code KTGR. Underdog, make plays, win money. Must be 18 plus and present in Missouri. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org.
My name is Taylor, and I have had insurance with Phyllis Nichols and her team for over 9 years. One of my first and only auto claims for me personally came when we were on a long road trip, and I was maybe following a semi-truck a little too close, and we all know when those rocks pop up, crack your windshield. First thing I did the next day was call Phyllis. Phyllis handled the whole thing. She got us into, I think, one of the local vendors to replace our windshield, and within 24 hours, it was done, it was over, and made it a very seamless process.
There's no one-size-fits-all when it comes to football weekends, and that's what makes Yuengling such a great pick. From traditional lager to light lager, flight, golden pilsner, and black and tan, they brew a beer for everyone's taste. Whether you're manning the grill, setting up the tailgate, or just watching with friends, Yuengling's got a flavor that fits the moment. Brewed with nearly 200 years of tradition by the oldest brewery in America, Yuengling. Legends stand the test of time. DG Yuengling & Son, Pottsville, Pennsylvania.
Hi, I'm Tristan Colon, Mizzou grad and 6-year NFL veteran.
I'm Charlie Stickland.
And I'm Sarah Stickland McDonald of the Stickland & Stickland Injury Law Firm.
In football, home field advantage can make all the difference.
The same is true when choosing your injury lawyer.
We're locals. We know the courts, we know the towns, we know the people.
Just as I protect my team on the field.
Our family will protect your family.
When sorry just doesn't cut it.
Push back with Stickland & Stickland.
On game day, every needs a. And every tailgate needs Kingsford charcoal. And a match. Whatever lot you're in, whatever you're grilling up for your fellow Tiger tailgaters, Kingsford charcoal is the official charcoal of Missouri football. Without it, you're just standing around in a parking lot. Since 1920, Kingsford has been proud to fire up your tailgates with friends and family. Kingsford.com.
From elegant weddings to corporate lunches with flavor and flair, Courtyard by Marriott Columbia brings the party and the pros. It's the home of Main Event Catering. And with every event, you'll get an award-winning chef, full banquet staff, and drop-and-go options for any size crowd. And the event center holds up to 300 guests with 8 flexible rooms. If you need help, there's a Marriott certified wedding coordinator on staff too. Book now by calling 573-443-8000.
The best local sports talk around on your ride home. You've got The Big Show on KTGR.
I got to do it. Brandon Walker's under the bus. I got to do it. I'm sorry.
What'd he do?
Well, okay, so we were talking about him yesterday. It was kind of happening in real time a little bit. Brandon Walker, Barstool guy, Mississippi State, right?
I think he's a Mississippi State fan.
More so.
That's what I've heard. I don't really know.
Making the claim that, hey, look, this is not the biggest game for Alabama this month, but this is the biggest game for Mizzou fans in their life. And look, hot take, obviously, and it's hyperbole for sure. And he even acknowledged that in replies to several Mizzou fans later.
Eventually,
when he started to get some pushback.
He realized that one of our hosts on the show put him in a body bag.
Yeah.
Let's go ratio.
Come on, man.
Just
well done.
saying.
Well done by you, Brendan. But here's the thing. When you get checked on that, and you say it's hyperbole, fine, I get it. I'm in this business. You got to say things that are a little bit edgy sometimes. And look, you say things that aren't technically true, but you do it to get a response sometimes. And look, when you have that and people check you on it, but then you call them delusional back, come on. That's where he lost me, is calling Mizzou fans delusional for clearly having valid responses to your claim.
Sorry,
is where
this isn't the first game our program has ever played.
Yeah, come on.
It's a big game. But so funny is we mostly agreed on everything, right? Andy, I think to begin last week, I was like, this is the biggest game ever. And you're like, well, here's a couple counter examples. And then you I was right there with him at one point. But I think when you boil it down, certainly Auburn in 2013, because you're a quarter away if you play better in the fourth quarter from playing for the national championship. All I was saying was, dude, I think that's a bigger game. But he goes, well, you guys lost that game. It's
who cares?
you don't get to pick after the game ends whether it was a big game or not. So it was bizarre, but I had fun with it. And I did have the backing of some Mizzou fans on Twitter. So, like, you know, the way it goes on Twitter, if you're getting more likes on your comments than the other guy, you're winning the thread. And so I took him down a peg, at least in my own mind. It was funny.
That was well done. But Brandon Walker, come on now.
Under the bus.
And I hate to do it because he picked Mizzou to win, right? Like he's kind of on the side of Mizzou fans. But
that's
like, not really.
That was the problem. Is that's why it happened. Is I think he was expecting more adoration than he received, and so it kind of threw him for a loop when Mizzou fans were pushing back on his prediction that they would win the game. It was nuanced, but I think that's what happened.
I think it was pretty sweet that Cam Scatterbo got 3 touchdowns last night and the Giants win over the Eagles.
Maybe he's not Cody Schrader with better PR. Maybe, again, Cody Schrader, I'm convinced if he ever got a chance, he would show out in the NFL. I don't know if he's getting his chance the way, obviously, Cam Scatterbo is getting his chance. But Cam Scatterbo is a fun player. Are the Giants just fixed with Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterbo? I mean, it's crazy the vibe shift.
I mean, I don't know. They're still not a playoff team to me. They're not sure they're saving his job.
They're not a playoff team only because they started Russell Wilson for 2 games.
I mean, this is. I don't know if they can play 500 football the rest of the way, no doubt, and that'll maybe come back to bite them because they started Russell Wilson for 3 games. But yeah, in the end, I think you feel a lot better about the future if you're a Giants fan today, especially if it's beating that team the way you did.
Did you see Brian Dable chewing out the team doctor trying to get Jackson Dart back on the field? I know that's maybe not really a great thing to do, but I kind of loved it.
SEC rooting guide coming up next here on the Big Show, KTGR.
Time is running out for the best full and part-time jobs in Columbia. Miller's Professional Imaging, the largest photography lab organization in the United States, is hiring. If you are energetic and enthusiastic, Miller's Professional Imaging wants you. Miller's offers competitive salaries up to $23 per hour with monthly profit sharing and no experience necessary. Don't wait. Time is running out for the best job in Columbia. To apply, please fill out an application under the employment link at millerslab.com.
Always ahead of the curve? Seem to know what's going to happen? Like a prophet? Prove it, Nostradamus, with Profit Shares. Predict the outcome of every black and gold game or whoever your favorite team is. It's all at Profit Shares, and it doesn't cost a thing to play. Make your predictions risk-free and win prizes like gift cards to Amazon, Chick-fil-A, and other favorites. Or donate your winnings to charities. Contests are open now. Play for free at ProfitShares.com. PROPHET shares.com.
From telling bedtime stories and doing late night homework to driving them to college and sliding them a few $100 when they get there, parents will do just about anything for their children. At Boone Hospital Wound Healing Center, people come from miles around knowing that their staff of doctors, nurses, and therapists will do anything to help heal their wounds. Wait, don't amputate. Visit boone.health to learn more.
Real healing starts here. Boone Hospital, Wound Healing Center.
Hit a deer, win a cow. Hit a deer, win a cow. Hit a deer, win a cow. FPP, Easy's 1, 2, 3. FPP, Easy's 1, 2, 3. FPP, Easy's 1, 2, 3. Award-winning auto collision repair. Don't wait, we're great. We work with all insurance companies. We work with all insurance companies. Yes, we work with your insurance company. New Bloomfield, Missouri. FPPBodyShop.com. 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 Fletcher, Performance and Paint.
KTGR AM Columbia. KTGR FM Fulton, Columbia. K286CL Columbia. In Missouri's total sports station. KTGR.
I'm Ed Bank, and it comes down to one game in the American League Division Series tonight. The Tigers will play the Mariners in Seattle, with the winner advancing to the American League Championship Series. You can hear tonight's game on ESPN Radio with our coverage starting at 7:30 Eastern. Tomorrow on ESPN Radio will be the Cubs and the Brewers playing Game 5 of their series. Our coverage again will get underway at 7:30 Eastern. In NFL news, Lamar Jackson will miss his second straight game when the Ravens face the Rams. He continues to deal with a hamstring injury. Brock Bowers will not play for the Raiders against the Titans on Sunday. He has a knee problem. Cardinals quarterback Kyler Murray was back at practice despite a foot injury. The Buccaneers will be without running back Ricky Irving and receiver Chris Godwin Jr. against the 49ers. While the Browns will have Shedeur Sanders as their backup, ESPN's Mike Tannenbaum says it will take time to see what Shedeur can actually do as Sanders continues to put himself in a position to get playing time.
Shedeur's under such a different microscope. Like, we've learned so much about quarterback development in the last couple of years from Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, Geno Smith. It doesn't go in a straight line. Even Cam Ward's been up and down.
The Browns will play the Steelers, who will get Joey Porter Jr. back.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive Commercial Insurance flexes to fit your business's needs. From quick repairs to adjustable coverages and even payment options, Progressive Commercial makes it easy to get what you need. Quote today in as little as 8 minutes at progressivecommercial.com.
From Faro.
15 to the 10, to the house.
Bush.
Back to the wall, and it's got her.
And Arrowhead.
Touchdown, Kansas City.
To your speakers.
This is the big show, baby.
Get fresh takes on the biggest sports stories in mid-Missouri. Right now, this is The Big Show with Andy and Brendan on KTGR.
I am so amped. We are closing in on kickoff tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. Mizzou-Alabama on Faroe Field. Can't wait, but we've got some business to attend to before we can do all that. And part of that business is the SEC Rooting Guide. Just a couple of minutes from now, we will go through the slate for the weekend and give you, well, maybe where Mizzou fans should align their rooting interests in the other games. I don't think it's particularly difficult to know that you're rooting for Mizzou to beat Bama, but what about the other SEC contests and maybe other contests across college football? We'll get you set with that in just a couple of minutes. And then we'll get into a little Chiefs-Lions for Sunday Night Football at 5:25. We'll tell you who we got in that matchup. You can tell us who you got by giving us a call or a text, 573-875-KTGR. Our picks of the week come your way as well before the end of the show today, so we better hop to it because it's 5 o'clock.
It's finally here. I mean, Brendan said we've talked about it for 3 weeks. I'd argue we'd talked about it for many months. Right as the schedule came out late December last year, we saw Alabama as the 6th game and a potential path to 5-0 for Mizzou up until that point. And guess what? It's happened. And so now Mizzou has their chance to seize the attention that I'm sure they've been craving all along. Certainly Mizzou fans have. Can the team finally deliver in a game like this, tailor-made for you, even though you're a 3-point underdog, to seize some national attention? And as we get closer to when the CFP rankings come out, this could be a key game that you put in your cap to put in front of the committee and say, hey, make sure we're a playoff team. For the Chiefs, it's about trying to get back on track, but that's hard to do when you're facing this Lions team, right? I mean, they look like the best team in football, the Lions do. Chiefs don't look bad, but obviously something has been missing from the 3 losses that they suffered, especially the one against Jacksonville. You just don't see the Chiefs lose in that fashion. I expect the Chiefs to play well. They're actually favored by 2.5 against the Lions this weekend. I don't know if that's right, but we'll talk about it here. And then we'll see how it all looks for the Chiefs as they get a little bit healthier on defense. I think that'll be key. Chiefs-Lions, Sunday Night Football, 7:20. Man, I don't know if this is a good idea. Big Ten is, according to the sources, close to a private equity deal with the University of California pension system, investing $2.4 billion into the new Big Ten subsidiary, Big Ten Enterprises, to basically be an upfront payment to all of these schools, about $140 million for each of them. Look, I know that you need to pay for stuff, but if this is just for paying the players, this is not going to hold up very well, I think, financially for these schools. Man, I loved seeing the Giants upset the Eagles yesterday. Cam Scatterbo, 3 touchdowns. Jackson Dart playing very well at quarterback, too. He's 2-1 since becoming a starter for the Giants. Maybe we think differently about them going forward. And, man, the Eagles, the drama continues. They're a good team, but they just have too much drama, man. So is Brendan now out on the St. Louis Blues 1 game in? Maybe. 875-KTGR if you want to call or text us. I mean,
all right, so the other two greatest words in sports, Blues money line, was not profitable last night.
It was not. Emphatically.
Yikes. Was it 5-0? I kind of lost count.
5-0.
Yeah, man, I don't really know what to like. The Blues were getting way more shots on goal, and then there'd be a rush the other way, and the Wild would score, and they weren't. I mean, I don't know. I'm gonna try to reserve judgment a little bit because I think if there's anybody that was mad about that game as much as anyone would have been, it's probably Jim Montgomery. So let's see how they respond. Wait a couple games, but it wasn't what I was hoping to see. I thought they were going to come out firing. That wasn't very good.
No. A real chance to instill some energy and confidence into that crowd, I'm sure. I'm sure they had many chances where they wanted to throughout the course of the game, but yeah, just falling flat at home. But look, long season, you got, 80 more of those to play? So
81, 80, how many they play? They play 82?
They play 82, 81. I
think it's 82.
82.
Same amount on the home and road.
So 81 games left for the Blues to bounce back. We'll see if
they'll score
can
a goal
do
this
that.
season.
Okay.
They'll score a goal.
Luckily for them. 875-5847. Call or text us. Tell us who you're rooting for this weekend in college football. Let's get to our SEC rooting guide. It's almost a college football rooting guide in some ways. If you
we start and then we branch out.
Need Mizzou to if in your world to make the playoff, here's what needs to happen across not only SEC but also the country. So let's start with the SEC and the other games that are happening there. I think it's very interesting. The most interesting one to me is Florida, Texas A&M.
Why is that the most interesting one?
Well, because A&M has started so well, and you want to maybe see them do better, like to pump that game up for when you get a chance to play them on November 8th.
They could be a top 5 team because they are one right now.
At the same time, after this Florida game, they win that. The rest of the schedule is it's not easy. You play in the SEC, but it's manageable, man. Like at Arkansas, at LSU, at Mizzou, hosting South Carolina. Gimme game before you play Texas. You play Samford at home and then at Texas, which anything can happen. I understand that. But you need A&M to take some losses, I think. At least one. Like
some of these,
all that.
I don't think it's like outright you're wrong. But I do look at this a little bit and say, can we allow for the fact that there will be 2 or 3, maybe 4 SEC teams that win 11 games, and that's part of the drill? But 5 or 6 are probably
4. But man, that's and if there are 4, then I don't know. Yeah, but if there are 4, then Mizzou probably doesn't make it, right?
I don't agree
unless
with that
they're one
at
of the 4.
No, I don't agree with that at all.
Really?
Because there will be more at 10. To me, A&M is a team with how they've started that either finishes 10-2 or 11-1. Like not every single SEC team that we look at has to be surpassed by Missouri for Missouri to get in. They only have to pass, 3 or 4 of the 9 or 10, and then you're in the top 5 or so, and I think you're in good shape. I think 5 SEC teams get in, but even if you think it's 4, that means 3 of them can be above you, and you're still okay.
No, I get that part.
If there's 3 at 11-1, that's almost preferable to me than 6 at 10-2.
But would you say at this point A&M is one of the likely teams to be finishing ahead of Mizzou at the end of the season?
I think A&M is one of the likely teams to at least get to 10-2. So I'm not really worried about this idea that you're not, because like Mizzou plays them. So do I think Mizzou's making the playoff with a loss to A&M? I mean, if everything else goes almost perfect, but I'm sort of thinking A&M's a game Mizzou's just got to win. So, like, if A&M's 10-2 because Mizzou served them a loss and Mizzou's 10-2, you're in. Like, you're above. You're where you need to be. I know that it's going to crystallize more, and right now maybe that's it, Andy. For me, it's too up in the air to start worrying about individual teams and where they are and who needs to take a loss. But if A&M's 11-1, like, okay, there's other teams that won't be.
But generally speaking, like it wouldn't be a bad thing at this point for you to be winning and for other teams around that realm to be losing. Like
generally, that's true. But with A&M specifically, because you mentioned their schedule not being that tough, if they get by Florida, I think they're unbeaten coming into Columbia. And that is where I'm not going to do this with every school because like at this point, Auburn, like whatever, I guess we root for Auburn, but it's more because we want Georgia to lose and be a team that could pick up a third loss.
Right.
But in the case of A&M, I think it's because they're doing so well already. Are they really going to lose 3 times? No. Then we don't need them to pick up losses. That's not one of the teams that we're likely to hand a third loss, even if they should lose to Florida. Like if A&M loses to Florida, I just don't see LSU beating them. Maybe I'm wrong. Obviously, we're wanting it to happen with Mizzou in Death Valley. We want Mizzou to win. They're at Texas. My thought is this: if A&M can be like the agent that does all of our bidding, that's fine. Might as well have them be propped up. View it this way: if A&M beats LSU and they beat Texas, LSU and Texas are the ones that are struggling. A&M has done our bidding for us because we don't play LSU, we don't play Texas. But you know who did play Texas? Florida did. And Texas is already on 2 losses.
The thing. Yeah, I feel like for Texas, and if we want to go to that game, Oklahoma, Texas, I say root for Texas for that one. Yeah. I same deal. Oklahoma needs to take some losses too. Like the
why
number
do you say
of
they
teams.
Need to? How many teams are allowed to finish above Missouri before you're comfortable?
How many teams are you allowed to have just keep on winning on Mizzou's schedule before there are too many that have pushed Mizzou out? They can't beat all of them. They probably won't. So at some point,
beat all of them. Let's slow down there.
They can, but I would not predict that they do, at least at this point. So you do need them to take some losses. Oklahoma,
you need
before
somebody to take some losses.
Several teams, I think. So with Oklahoma, again, going into the season, how many times did we do the whole let's go through their schedule and see what record they would be by the time they're playing Mizzou, right?
I think we mostly said 7-2 when we did that game.
Or maybe even 6-4-ish or something like that.
Sometimes.
But that required a loss against Texas.
Yeah, but they're not going to lose to Texas because Texas stinks.
Well, if John Mateer doesn't play, then maybe Texas gets them.
But Andy, let me flip the script on you on that. I hear what you're saying. How many times when we played the game of do 6 SEC teams get in at 10-2? Did we have Texas at 11-1? If Oklahoma beats Texas, Texas is out. They're done.
Yeah, but again, if Texas still has a schedule that sets up where they host Vandy, they're at Georgia, they might lose against one loss puts them out, right?
I agree.
And
I largely agree.
It could happen at Mississippi State. Very well could.
So you're saying I'm comfortable enough knowing that Texas is going to have
Texas,
a third loss
I'm putting out of the picture right now, and so it doesn't really hurt Mizzou's chances all that much for them to get another win and for Oklahoma to finally get a loss.
If Texas is out of the picture, though, I'm it's dwindling the number of teams that are in it. I know it doesn't. Ole Miss is in because their schedule is weak.
Right.
A&M, based on my premise of saying go ahead and root for A&M to beat Florida, that's fine, is in. But Mizzou's playing Alabama. Probably should beat them. Probably should beat Alabama if you want to be able to say at the end of the year, our 10-2 or 11-1 is better than whatever Alabama's got cooking because they've got a loss. So if you beat them and they're 10-2, Mizzou's done its job there. I'd rather see the teams that Mizzou plays. You have a chance to beat them, but I guess to your point, you're not going to probably beat OU, A&M, and Bama. You might trip up in one or maybe 2 of those games. But my point with this is an A&M specifically, I don't see them losing a third time anyway because of what I believe their team to be. And so that just becomes you don't win that head-to-head at them unless you beat them on the football field because that's going to be the tiebreaker of Mizzou's 10-2 versus Texas A&M's 10-2. And so I'm still kind of in that mode of thinking, let's have the teams lose that Mizzou can't deal a loss to. But I'm not saying you're wrong. That's just the perspective I'm bringing to it because I'm viewing certain teams differently.
But again, Mizzou plays 8 SEC teams, and I think, it's A&M, Alabama, Oklahoma, Vanderbilt, I suppose, still.
Isn't dead, right?
Isn't dead. So that's half the schedule, your SEC schedule, that is at least in playoff contention, right? And if you operate under the premise that you probably won't beat all of them, well, then they do need to pick up losses along the way, and these are places where they could do that.
They do, or the Ole Misses do, the LSUs do, the Georgias do, the teams that you don't play.
No,
right?
that also has to happen, but I don't think it's wrong to be rooting for the other things to happen too.
No, I hear you. I hear you. I just when I think about Mizzou, I don't, as much as the rooting guide thing is fun, I'd rather think of the way that Mizzou's resume gets propped up to where instead of at 10-2, we're sneaking in, we're hosting a game like that. Like I really think if you end up saying at the end of it all, A&M and Oklahoma are two teams in the top 10, and Mizzou, Alabama's probably not going to be in the top 10 after Mizzou beats them, right? So I'm just kind of thinking about I'm still thinking about strength of record, strength of resume, maybe more so than
but
worrying that, because these teams are all playing games, man. They're going to lose some games.
But again,
it's early.
If you are worried about your strength of resume, your strength of record, then that probably means you took a few losses along the way. And it probably
just
came
two, not a few. If you lose 3, you're out, Mizzou. You got to win. You got to only 2.
So is only 2 not a few? Like, what's your threshold?
A few is 3.
Like, at least 3.
Like a couple is 2. This is a nitpick, but yeah, a couple is 2.
I feel like a few could be anywhere between like 3 and 7. I don't know. It's very arbitrary.
But it's at least 3. It doesn't include 2.
Okay, that's fair. All right. So a couple. But again, couple of losses along the way. So again, like, if you're worried about that aspect of it, then that means you probably lost to
What if I picked Mizzou
Oklahoma.
to go 11-1?
Well, then you shouldn't worry about any of this then.
Then why are we taking the rooting guide? I told you they're going 12-0.
I don't know, but again, okay, so how about this angle? Like, if you're 11-1, you've got a shot at Atlanta, right? Okay, so clear the path for that.
But do I want to go?
No, you want to go.
Game?
If you're 11-1,
I know.
Yes, you want to go. So that's kind of where I'm at. Is that you
Can
still
you name
need
the 5 playoff teams? Name the 5 real quick. I know it's not going to be right.
5 SEC playoff teams.
The teams that because like Ole Miss schedule's too easy, they're going to make it. Like for me, A&M schedule's too easy, they're going to make it. They're getting to 10. But there's not like everybody else to me. Oh, like Oklahoma's schedule's really tough. They're probably getting to 10 though. I think of like Alabama, you're not making the playoff this year. Georgia, you're probably not making the playoff this year because in my head,
you think already? Just
Well, Auburn's going to beat Georgia, and so let's talk about the rooting guide. Are we rooting for Auburn?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. You're rooting for Auburn. You're rooting for South Carolina against LSU. I think that's pretty obvious.
For sure. Because again, in those 2 are easy. You don't play the team that we're rooting against. The team we're rooting against is a contender, still could make the playoff. You do play both teams that we're saying we're pulling for to win, or you've already played them in the case of South Carolina, and that win looks better if South Carolina can get a number by their name toward the end. So those 2 are actually really easy. It's Auburn and it's South Carolina.
Similar one in Knoxville, root for Arkansas against Tennessee. I think that's right.
Yes, because Tennessee would be another team. They're in that Ole Miss category. I know Tennessee's taken a loss, but their schedule isn't that difficult. They're the real weakest.
They lost that game last year, right? Tennessee lost to Arkansas last year, or am I remembering that wrong? Arkansas beat somebody.
Yeah. Arkansas did beat Tennessee, if I'm recalling that correctly. Okay. But also, man, maybe I wasn't thinking about Florida being as tricky as it's going to be for Tennessee. Florida's very live when they host the Vols, and then obviously Vandy in Knoxville is live. Tennessee hosting Oklahoma. Their schedule's gotten tougher too. Tennessee's going to take more losses, but you sure would take it if Arkansas can beat them. Because then if you're playing Arkansas, you're not facing 3-8 Arkansas. You're facing maybe a 6-5 Arkansas that people respect more when Mizzou has to go to their place the last game of the year. It helps in like the minutia of where they might be ranked in the CFP versus, hey, it's not viewed as a bad win to beat Arkansas. So certainly you're rooting for Arkansas to do the unthinkable at Tennessee.
SEC rooting guide, call or text us with what you want to put on at 875-KTGR. So those are all the SEC games. Ole Miss is in action. They're playing Washington State at home.
31.5.
Yeah,
Did you see Lane Kiffin? He had to say about this matchup?
No.
He said it's the first place team in the Pac-12 against the first place team in the SEC.
Hey, it's not wrong.
He's trying to boost that resume, but they're favored by like 31.5.
Yeah. But I'm just saying,
whatever.
like, if
Ole Miss
somehow, Ole Miss will win. But like, I'm just saying, in the very off chance that Washington State,
we love that if it happens.
Makes it something. Yeah, you can root for Washington State to pull that off. Okay, elsewhere. Outside
it's Ohio State. Am I wrong? Ohio State over Illinois?
I think that's right.
Illinois out?
Yeah.
Because Illinois, despite the Indiana loss, is a tough cookie at 11-1 and even 10-2 if they have that win on their resume.
You want the Big Ten to have no more than 3 bids. I think that's
what
you're looking for. So
get them all to 3 losses as quickly as you can.
something like that.
Because 10-2 is going to be up in the air against an SEC 10-2, even though it shouldn't be.
Right. It's like in the case of Indiana, Oregon, I don't think it matters. Like they're both undefeated. They go into it, and I think it's fairly.
I think it's
similar.
Oregon that you root for, because I don't see Oregon missing the playoff. Like, let's say they do lose to Indiana. Where's their other loss coming? There's not really an opportunity. And Penn State and Indiana still do.
You could say the same about Indiana, though. Like they'll probably go at Penn State. Okay, I like Indiana in that game.
Me too. Now,
honestly,
but that's recency bias about that UCLA
no, I understand.
Game.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
And there can be trip ups here and there, but even then, like you can. I think it's more important that the teams below them are taking losses.
This is the path, though, because Indiana still plays Penn State. Penn State still has to go to Ohio State. So that's already Penn State's third loss. You're looking for Indiana to pick up 2, which is possible. You want even the Big Ten's third bid to be yucky.
That's being greedy, like trying to get Indiana to a loss of to where the Big Ten's only got 2 teams.
They have they could take a third, but they have to decide between Indiana and Penn State. They don't get them both. That's if they're both 10-2. In Penn State,
I feel like Penn State's probably going to get a
lost
third
to Ohio
anyway.
State. Anyway.
Yeah, lost to Ohio State. So they're not even going to be considered. I'm not considering them in that. I actually think Michigan has more of a chance to make it now than Penn State does, and that's why I think this this weekend, I think you root hard for USC.
That's actually a big one.
Yeah, USC is a 2.5-point favorite at home against Michigan. That is actually the Big Ten game that you need to pay the most attention to.
I would
Michigan
agree with that.
needs to take a loss there.
Yeah, Penn State's schedule dictates that they're going to pick up a third loss, and if they don't, they're going to be a worthy 10-2. But Michigan's got nothing left other than Ohio State,
which they're going to win because they always do.
But that's the other thing. If they do beat Ohio State, they're 10-2. Even dropping to USC or Washington ends up being enough. But that's why I really feel strongly about you need to root for Oregon, because Oregon's not picking up enough losses to be knocked out. Indiana gets to 10-2, and then you at least have to look at Indiana and go, well, you beat Illinois by a lot, but what else did you really do? And that's still on the table because of Indiana's schedule. You need help from Penn State at that point, but yeah, all it would be is Indiana losing to Oregon and losing to Penn State, and then they'd be 10-2.
But then you'd have kind of like let's say Michigan wins this weekend, you'd probably have Michigan and Indiana up against each other with that.
Sure.
That'd be an interesting dichotomy.
But I don't think they get both. I don't think the Big Ten ends up getting both of them in as the third and fourth teams.
I guess it'd be interesting. Oklahoma's, again, all good losses it would be if in fact they lose to Ohio State, or maybe they lose. Well, the USC loss would be a worse one, but they're underdogs. So it's kind of like, maybe not. A 10-2 Michigan with losses to Oklahoma and Ohio State is a little bit worrying to me.
I was going to ask you, and that's all the more reason to muddy the waters by getting Indiana on that same plane, because if you scrub Indiana versus Michigan, they might actually go Michigan. And I think that an SEC team can still win out over the Indiana at 10-2. Like a Mizzou can win out over Indiana at 10-2 versus Indiana's 10-2. If Indiana loses to Oregon and then Penn State, I think that's still possible because they don't have any good wins other than Illinois. Michigan's tricky. That is a team that you'd like to see pick up one for sure, because the alternative is them beating Ohio State. Ohio State's still in, and that boosts Michigan. But again, I just look at these SEC teams and I go, you know what? Georgia's already got a loss. And I'm not really convinced that Mizzou won't beat out some 10-2s within the SEC. That's not something I would have said before the season, and I'm not saying it's a guarantee. But I think there is enough juice on this schedule that maybe that's why I'm so hell-bent on saying let A&M be top 5 when they come here. Let Oklahoma be top 5 when we get there. Because you may lose one of those, but if you win the other one, you know, there's going to be a resume that Missouri has that's a lot stronger at 10-2 than people thought it could ever be coming into the year.
We'll see. Again,
it's going to get more clear as we go on, but right now it's still very vague.
Yeah, and I think mainly you're looking at the SEC and Big Ten matchups this weekend. There's not a lot of fulcrum games, I think, in the Big 12 and the ACC this week. I think it just the blanket statement.
Aren't real conferences.
Well, but you blanket statement root for upsets, and you just say like, okay, the ranked teams can go down.
This is maybe a better topic, Andy, as we get closer. But is there a SEC 9-3 that you're like, that's really scary still? against some 10-2s from the Big Ten in the is it Oklahoma? Like, is that the 9-3 that we're going?
Yeah.
Giving them a third loss may not be enough unless we happened to have beaten them, right? If we're we're 10-2, they're 9-3, but we beat them at their place. If they beat Mizzou and go 9-3, and that's how Mizzou ends up falling to 10-2.
Yeah, man, the way they finish is going to be very tough, and it's like it.
That might be the one reason I would say
how much
Texas.
will a playoff committee ding them for losses at Tennessee and at Alabama, even though they'd be back-to-back weeks? But if they coupled that with beating Mizzou, beating LSU afterwards to finish the season, yeah, that's a scary.
But Oklahoma still plays Ole Miss as well. They get to host.
So, like, say they lost all three of those and had 3 losses in a row like that, but Mizzou and LSU were kind of still in the mix, and they beat both of those teams. Like, that would still be very.
But the other side is, if Oklahoma goes ahead and takes out LSU is no longer a concern. Like, you know what I mean?
Sure.
That's where there's going to be enough of those games. We're not licking our chops yet, but there are going to be weeks, Andy, where we go, just don't tie. Glad one of you's losing, and that's coming soon in the SEC. We're just not quite there yet.
What would you put on the SEC and college football rooting guide for Mizzou's sake? 875-KTGR if you want to call or text us. If you want to chime in on that, we've got more to get to on it, and also some Chiefs-Lions talk. Give us your predictions for that on Sunday Night Football and our picks of the week at 5:45 here on The Big Show.
Breaking down the Tigers, Cardinals, Chiefs, and more like no one else. The Big Show continues next on KTGR.
Hi, everyone. Andy Humphrey here for Lee's Tire Company. They are round for you, and if it's round and rubber, Lee's sells it. They want to also remind you that it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and all this month they are bringing back their Brakes for Breasts campaign. What this means is that you can get a qualifying brake job at Lee's Tire Company all throughout this month, and you can either get $40 back or you can donate that $40 to breast cancer research. And on top of that, Lee's Tire Company will match that $40 donation. Just another way that Lee's Tire Company not only knows how to get you the right tires, how to work on everything else on your vehicle, but also help make a difference, especially during this month as we try to fight that nasty disease called cancer. So again, if you get a qualifying brake job at Lee's Tire Company at any of their 3 locations, 2 of them in Columbia, 1 in Centralia, you can either get $40 back or donate $40 to breast cancer research, all during the Brakes for Breast campaign at Lee's Tire Company. If it's round and rubber, Lee's sells it. Go to leestirecompany.com.
It was 2:30 on a Tuesday when the phone rang. Brian Ware Plumbing answered the call. It was a dismayed wife. Fresh off vacation, her and her hubby came home to a wrecked water heater. It had sprung a leak, a bad one. So while the plumbing team took care of that leaky water heater, Brian's certified restoration guide, Josh, with 2 decades of experience, came in to restore the area and stop mold in its tracks. Another day, another job, another expert added to the team. Ho-hum. Better call Brian and unplug your plumbing problems. BrianWarePlumbing.com.
From Branson Landing to the Capitol Dome, Union Station to the Tigers' home. Big old service is Missouri's best. Our trusted team outpaces the rest. Show me safe coverage wherever you go. We've got you covered at Big O.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-444-2013. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-444-2013. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-444-2013. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-444-2013 or biglou.com.
It's time to leave those regular malt beverages in the doghouse and adopt Lucky One Lemonade. Made with real vodka and real juice, Lucky One is a premium alcoholic beverage with no artificial flavors, no bubbles, and is only 100 calories. With 4 flavors, blueberry, peach, raspberry, and regular, and money from each pack sold goes to help rescue dogs find their forever home. Come taste Lucky One Lemonade at this year's Zimmer Tiger Tailgate. From backyard hangs to tailgate sips, Lucky One Lemonade is the upgrade that your cooler deserves.
Back to more of the biggest sports stories in mid-Missouri. You've got The Big Show on the KTGR app.
Who are you rooting for in college football this weekend? Call or text us at 875-KTGR. You can also comment on our YouTube channel at KTGR Sports. Leave us your predictions for the weekend. Mizzou-Bama, Chiefs-Lions, which we'll get to here in just a few minutes. John saying 35-28 Mizzou on our YouTube channel. Thanks for that. It will be nip and tuck, I think, for 90% of this contest.
And that's what you're rooting for, because I think that Mizzou does not blow out Bama. I would love for that to be the case, and I'll come on here and apologize and say I should have had more faith, but I just think Mizzou has to win a close one if they're going to win. So if you're in the game in the fourth quarter, you've done your job. Now you execute in the clutch like Mizzou teams under Drink always seem to do, and that's your recipe.
Off the texter, Landon says, 4 greatest words in sports. Mizzou money line, Hardy touchdown.
There you go.
Mizzou 38, Bama 28.
I guess he's parlaying those two things.
I think that's probably.
I hope Hardy scores. I think that would be lovely if he would. I would love for him to get lots of rushing yards. I would love for Mizzou. Like, there's just going to be a moment where you get on the field. We're watching this first quarter unfold. If Mizzou's offense kind of looks like it's looked so far this year, there's going to be that moment of like, oh baby, here we go. And if it doesn't, then there's going to be that tension of like, how do they adjust to what Bama's doing defensively to get to that point, right? That's going to be the early fork in the road of this game.
So a lot to try and see what happens for this game between Mizzou and Alabama. 11 a.m. tomorrow, Yingling Tiger Game Day Show begins at 8 a.m. Our Tiger Tailgate begins at 8:30. And again, new location. It's the Mizzou Softball Stadium where we're going to be. SEC Nation's in our usual spot right in front of Mizzou Arena. So we will be at the Mizzou Softball Stadium. Get your free Tiger Tailgate passes at any of our great sponsor locations. You can find the full list at ktgr.com right now. So go and check it out and have some free food and free drinks on Dive Bar, Bud Light, High Noon, Zing Zang, Lucky One Lemonade, and Midmo Water Solutions. Go and check it out. Our Tiger Tailgates at ktgr.com at the Mizzou Softball Stadium just for this weekend. Okay, Chiefs, Lions, predictions for that. Go.
Man, this is a weird one, and it's because of that adage where when you look at a point spread and you think, this feels almost too easy. I'm giddy to go Lions plus 2.5 because of how good the Lions have been recently, how up and down the Chiefs have been recently. And then you have to sit back and go, well, why is it that way? What am I missing about this point spread? And that's kind of where I'm at with this one, where I want to say just jump in with both feet on the Lions, but then you have to sit back and wonder if there's something you're not seeing, because a lot of times there is when it comes to sports betting and the way that the odds makers put things out there. It would not be a shock at all for the Chiefs to win this game by a field goal. And like that's the outcome that would allow them to cover this very small spread, but it feels like why are they even favored based on the way the Lions are playing right now? But I guess you could look at it and say, all right, the Lions played a team that at least at the time we thought was a Super Bowl contender in the Green Bay Packers to begin the season, and they got pantsed by them. And since then, we have seen the Lions play 0 teams that I'm ready to call good. They beat the Bears, they beat the Ravens, and I know it's the Ravens. We're used to calling them good. Call them good this year, I dare you. They're not there yet. The Browns and the Bengals. The Lions actually haven't beaten anybody. And so, like,
they have
maybe
beaten them
there's
by
something
a lot.
to it.
I will say that. Like,
they're
beating them by a lot.
Killing people, but they're not beating anybody that's good. So that's where I'm like, oh, maybe that's the sign as to why the Chiefs are favored in this game.
And look, going to Kansas City, the crowd at Kansas City's back, and the fact that they are playing better offensively than they have in 3 years. Like, that's not the type of offense that the Lions have faced in any of the games that they have had against Chiefs. Like, was it just the one? Like the opening game 3 years ago that they had? And look, this is this is a chance for the Chiefs to, this week on a short week, say, look, guys, this
Remind everybody.
silly stuff that set us back numerous times against the Jaguars on the road can't happen anymore. No, it can't happen anywhere anymore. I feel like an Andy Reid coach team will nip that in the bud, but I don't know. We'll see. I think the Chiefs squeak it out 24-20. Something like
Low
that.
scoring game, huh?
Yeah.
What's the total for this one?
That's probably pretty high. Higher than that.
I think it's probably high, and I think I like your projection that the offenses stall a little bit more than we're used to really seeing either offense do. But you said it. I mean, the Chiefs offense does have an extra gear right now in the way that they're operating. And like the Lions did give up 24 points to Jake Browning. I know it was kind of garbage time, but he got fired after that game and they still scored 24. They had a big second half, did Cincinnati. So, oh man, I'm having a hard time with this one. I may end up with the homer take that give me the Lions, but I don't know if I believe it at this point. The more that we kind of dive into it, I knew like all week you and I could be on opposite ends of this one. I'm going to say that the Chiefs do win the game. I'm going to pick a point spread that gives the Lions a cover because I know I'll be kind of rooting for the Lions a little bit. I know I'll be rooting for their players for fantasy. I've got a lot of Lions. Give me Chiefs 20. Boy.
He's trying to math it.
I'm trying to math it because the total is 52.5. So I could still think it's under, but I can't get there with 27-24 because the Chiefs would cover that.
27-26. You could
24-23
for that.
24-23. You'll have some reluctant field goals in this game, whereas normally, and they'll go for some fourth downs too, but there will eventually be some reluctant field goals.
Bucker doesn't hit field goals anymore. Come on,
he doesn't always miss them. 24-23 Chiefs. I am actually going to pick the Chiefs to win the game.
Very interesting.
In 20 minutes, I may say something different. I just think this is. I can't wait for this game. But part of me is like, a fun game. Yeah. Part of me is looking at that spread and going, what am I missing? And maybe as we've talked through it, what I'm missing is Lions ain't beating nobody. They're beating people by a lot, but they haven't actually beaten a team that has shown to be good yet in 2025.
And meanwhile, the Chiefs on the other side, they've lost to teams that are good, and they haven't been boat raced by them. I mean, really the closest thing that they have suffered to a blowout loss was their opening night game against the Chargers.
Oh, really?
And even then, like,
what was the score
back
of that
into
one?
it was a 6-point loss. And
I was
going to
argue the Eagles game felt more hopeless to me, even though it was.
I don't know. Game. They had a lead at one point in that game. I don't think so.
Did they score to make it 2017 though? It was 20-10 at one point. Eagles, wasn't it?
Yeah, you're right. But I think the Chiefs went up 10-7 earlier.
Yeah, but by the time you got into the second half, I guess you're right though. Chargers game, I was going, Chiefs ain't coming back.
No, like that included the only bad half of football that the Chiefs have played this year, if you ask me. But,
so like the Lions can't win. The Lions haven't played a close game. Their loss to the Packers wasn't close.
No, it wasn't.
Like that was over at halftime, it felt like.
They had a one-score game technically against the Ravens, but they had it in hand. That was a garbage time touchdown for the Ravens.
38-30. Yeah. So the Lions haven't had to play one close. Right. The Chiefs have, and they'll learn from their mistakes and having lost close. They'll win close.
Call or text us with your score predictions for Chiefs and Lions. 875-KTGR here on The Big Show. Will either of us take it in the picks of the week? We'll get to that coming up next.
Now, your local sports center update on your total sports station, KTGR.
Good afternoon. I'm Ben Hermes, and this live local sports center is brought to you by Lee's Tire Company. If it's round and rubber, Lee's sells it. Lee'sTireCompany.com. The 14th-ranked Missouri Tigers are set to host the 8th-ranked Alabama Crimson Tide this weekend. This will be the first AP Top 15 matchup that the Tigers will host since 1979. According to the SEC Student-Athlete Injury Report, Tigers offensive lineman Caden Green is listed as questionable for Saturday's game, while Alabama wide receiver Jalen Mbakwe is listed as doubtful. Kickoff against the Crimson Tide from Columbia is tomorrow at 11 a.m. right here on KTGR. The Kansas City Chiefs are looking to get back to 500 on the season as they gear up to take on the Detroit Lions this Sunday. Everyone listed on the Chiefs injury report was listed as a full participant during Friday's practice. Kickoff from Arrowhead Stadium on Sunday Night Football is at 7:20. And the St. Louis Blues dropped the puck on their season last night but they were blanked by the Minnesota Wild 5-0. They'll be back in action tomorrow as they take on the Calgary Flames from north of the border. Puck drop for that one is at 3 p.m. And your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast is with Steve's Pest Control. The fall invasion is here. Call Steve and the pros at Steve's Pest Control today to help stop all the fall pests from invading your home. Call or go online to stevespestcontrol.com.
I'm Storm Track meteorologist Sawyer Jackson, and clouds are slowly going to dissipate throughout the rest of this evening. Most of us are just going to be staying dry as those temperatures gradually drop into the low 50s by the end of the night. Tomorrow, if you are going to be heading to this Mizzou versus Alabama game, you can expect cool weather during tailgating time. Once we get to the afternoon hours, the temperatures warm up into the mid-70s. It'll be a great afternoon to get outdoors. I'm Storm Track meteorologist Sawyer Jackson, and that's your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast on your total sports station, KTGR.
Hi, everyone. Andy Humphrey here for ProfitShares.com. You can sign up now and be ready to enter into the Margin Madness weekly contests or the Profit Picks contests for this upcoming football weekend for both college and pro. The Margin Madness, you can pick the outcomes of each game. For Profit Picks, you can go individually on how certain players will do, what kind of stats they'll have, things like that. And you'll compete against others that are entered into the same contest. And the more you climb up the leaderboard, the more profit dollars that you can win. Not actual money, but points that you can use to redeem for gift cards or charitable donations to some great nonprofits. And it does not cost you anything. It is totally free to play over at ProfitShares.com. So if you want a free way to play and win, go to ProfitShares.com. That's PROPHET shares.com. You'll start with an allotment of profit dollars, enter into those contests, invite your friends, and win big over at ProfitShares.com.
Hey, y'all, it's Molly from Billiards. Happy Halloween month. Did y'all know we cook all of our burgers on a flat top, just like Frankenstein's haircut? And for our friends in the spirit world, we like ghost pepper cheese. Woo! And we've got plenty of Missouri craft beers brewing in the witch's cauldron.
Look on down for burgers and beer. Billiards on Broadway. Yeah.
For all you mummies, let's wrap this up.
This is Nevada Schauke with True Sun Exteriors and Interiors, and I'm the Exterior Director of Sales. In the construction industry, the last few years, we've had a roller coaster ride. One thing that has stayed pretty consistent or common is that vendors have continued to raise prices on materials. We have called up to collaborate with some of our large vendors that we work with to offer some year-end promotions. If you're looking to replace your roof, upgrade your deck to composite, replace your old worn-out windows and doors, give us a call. We also offer several financing options to meet most budgets. Your project must be purchased by the end of the year. This is a unique opportunity to save some money on your next home renovation.
The difference between a house and a home is the attention to detail. At True Sun Exteriors and Interiors, we'll turn your vision of a dream home into a reality. For more information or a free estimate, go to TrueSunExteriors.com.
TrueSunExteriors.com.
Winter's on the way, so now's the time to plan your tree pruning. Here's why. In winter, trees are dormant, which means there's less risk of disease. Plus, without all those leaves, it's way easier to see exactly what needs trimming. The educated, licensed, insured, and experienced crew at Advanced Tree Solutions knows how to protect your trees and your wallet. But spots are filling fast, so schedule your winter pruning today at AdvancedTreeSolutionsLLC.com. Advanced Tree Solutions, LLC, your tree's best friend.
Columbia just got armed. Minutemen Defense is your new destination for guns, ammo, and tactical gear that means business. From holsters and body armor to night vision and magazines, if you need it, they've got it. Plus, the cheapest ammo in town, guaranteed. Located right off I-70 and Rangeline for fast, easy access, locally owned, veteran approved, built for serious shooters. Minutemen Defense. Get there. Visit MinutemenDefenseLLC.com.
They can't shoot it straight on the golf course, but they can shoot straight on the biggest sports stories in mid-Missouri. Back to Andy and Brendan on The Big Show on KTGR.
We're back here on The Big Show, KTGR and the KTGR app with Andy, Brendan, and producer Ben, ready to battle it out once again in the picks of the week as we go through a loaded college football and NFL slate. Last week, Brendan the winner, 3-1-1. First push of the year went to Brendan. Congratulations, sir.
We'll take it. Was that the Notre Dame that pushed?
Notre Dame, Boise State, right?
There you go.
21-point spread. That's exactly the number of points they won by.
How do you like that? Vegas knows what it's doing sometimes.
Hey, that puts you at 21-13-1 on the year.
Oh, that's pretty good.
It's
pretty good.
It's a good start. Producers and I both went 2-3 last week. Producers are 18-17. I'm 15-20. Still,
no shame.
Yeah, I know. It's just. But I can tell you that it's still early. Brendan will tell you that it's late because he's winning. But
yeah, we should pack it in. We should just call it now.
Exactly. But 8 college football, 8 NFL games to run through for this week. We've got for college football, Ohio State at Illinois, Indiana at Oregon, Oklahoma and Texas, Arkansas at Tennessee, Florida at A&M, Georgia at Auburn, South Carolina at LSU, and of course, Alabama at Mizzou. Then the NFL games, Broncos and Jets in London, Seahawks at Jags, Rams at Ravens, Bengals at Packers, 49ers at Bucks. 2 Monday night games, Bills at Falcons, Bears at Commanders, and then the Sunday night game, Lions at Chiefs. Who goes first, Brendan?
I will go with the producers first, Andy second, Brendan third.
Okie dokie. Well, producers, you have the honor, if you will, going first.
All right, sweet. Thank you. First pick, I'll take Oklahoma against Texas. They're 1-point favorites, but I really like Oklahoma here. Honestly, I don't know if it matters if Mateer plays or not.
Okay.
In this game, I think they'll win it with whoever's at quarterback. Texas, they've struggled. They haven't showed me anything yet. And until they do show me something, I can't trust to pick them.
It basically is a pick. I'm just a 1-point spread. Oklahoma favored by 1. That's risky, though. We'll see. I actually liked what Rob Veno was kind of telling us earlier about this game. He didn't seem to believe all the way in it, but I think I do. I'm going to take Arkansas plus 10.5 at Tennessee. Look, maybe Bobby Petrino lights a fire under that offense once again, and they're able to at least be step for step with Tennessee, kind of similarly like they were against Ole Miss a few weeks ago. So I actually like Arkansas, maybe not to win the game, but to keep it close against Tennessee. So give me them plus 10.5.
Yeah, I saw that total was like 68.5. I feel like that's an indicator that both teams are expected to put up points. And when that happens and you have a spread so large, sometimes you can end up with the losing team, the underdog, still finding a way to cover. That line has come down, though. It was like 13.5 earlier in the week. So maybe there's a little bit of smoke to this one. You guys, I'll go dealer's choice. You can give me the points. You can leave them on the table. I don't give a damn. The 2 best words in sports. It's true this weekend. Mizzou, money line. I'm taking the Tigers. I don't care if you give me the +3 or not. It's Mizzou time. All right. It's our time. And, that's my first pick off the board. I'm not letting you guys take it from me.
That's fine. I thought about taking it first, but I wanted to at least make you happy with it. So there you go.
Yeah, I'm just writing Mizzou. I don't know if you want to give me the 3 points or not. I don't need them. I'm not asking for them. It's unconventional. I'm not asking for extra units. I'm just saying it's going to be Mizzou. Mizzou wins the game.
All right, producers.
Second pick, I'll go with Texas A&M at home against Florida. Look, Florida's a roller coaster of a team, and they have some real high highs and some real high lows. It's been like that ever since Billy Napier's been like, it feels like to me at least. And coming off a big home win against Texas, even though maybe not totally proven Texas team, I don't see them marching into A&M and keeping the game really close at all. A&M's looked pretty impressive so far, and I think they'll keep that rolling.
I see them doing it. Give me Florida. Immediately. Straight thread then. I say thread?
You did.
Can't talk today.
I like this.
So look, this is a game that Florida can win. I don't know if they will, but A&M off of an emphatic win against, they're not the worst SEC team, but they're still bottom half. They may still be bottom quad. But I don't think that necessarily should mean that they rest on their laurels, but I suppose that it might be likely to happen against Florida. So I'll take Florida to at least keep it close, but I think they have a good chance to win.
I would have also faded the producers and taken the Gators in this one. Look, Auburn lost by 6 points in College Station. I honestly think Florida might be a better team than Auburn. I think Auburn's a pretty capable team. So I absolutely could see Florida just losing by a touchdown in a game that's a low-scoring effort, 21-14, and next thing you know, you've covered if you're the Gators. I wasn't going to take it there, though. I was going to wait till round 3. I had a different pick for round 3, but I wanted to make sure to grab this one before it got stolen. I think South Carolina is live, as we talked with Rob Veno about. Lenore Sellers is the difference maker there. I kind of trust him more than I'm trusting Garrett Nussmeier right now, and I'm getting 9.5 points. I get it. You're in Death Valley. I think it's a night game. Don't really care. I think South Carolina can keep it within 9.5, a number that's actually moved in my favor since earlier in the week. So give me the Gamecocks.
All right, sweet. Third pick, I think I'll flip down to the NFL for this one. I'll go to the Monday night games and give me the Bills against the Falcons. It's 4.5 points. It's a weird line there, but I feel pretty confident with the Bills' ability, especially after last week, everything that kind of transpired in their game against the Patriots. So I'm feeling pretty good about still feeling good about Josh Allen and the Bills and everything rolling there, and I think they'll get it together, and I think they'll win probably by a touchdown. So that's where I feel confident in that line.
I have no idea what the Falcons are. Maybe just have no idea what type of team that is. Like
week to week, it's completely different.
Maybe I'll fade. Maybe I won't. I have no clue, so I'm staying away from now. I'll stay in the NFL, though, as well. I'll go to the game that, at least on our sheet here, is a pick'em game. And I'll take the Seahawks on the road against the Jaguars. Look, Jags got a great win against the Chiefs, but they're also coming off of the short week. And I wonder if Seattle, with the way that they get to use the longer week to go then travel cross country, will help them a little bit more and even out that type of disadvantage that most teams get with that. So I'll actually take the Seahawks, who have been playing very well also. And it's almost a game between two very similar teams that are trying to break through a similar mold, if you will. But I think the Seahawks end up doing it.
This morning, I looked at the number, and the Seahawks were an underdog by 1.5, and I was like, oh, I like the Jaguars, the Seahawks were favored on the road by 1.5, and I was thinking, oh, I love the Jaguars at that value, but the line feels wrong, and so that makes me wonder if I'm questioning my own sanity. And now the line has moved. You've got it as a pick 'em. I think it's continuing to move in favor of the home Jaguars, which is what I thought should have happened in the first place.
I mean, honestly, there's so many different places that have one team favored and another team favored. It's different.
All the craziness has me going, I don't want any piece of it. I'm just going to sit back and watch. What I do want a piece of is the Rams taking on a Ravens defense that stinks. I know they're getting a little healthier, but they still stink. Cooper Rush. Yeah, I think the Rams don't get beat by a backup quarterback in consecutive weeks. I'm not anticipating Lamar Jackson to play just yet. Rams are on the road. They are -7.5. It's a big number. Sean McVay probably lost some sleep over the way that his team handled the Mac Jones experience on Thursday Night Football. And so I am expecting a bounce-back effort from the Rammies. Give me the Rams -7.5 on the road.
All right, doing our picks of the week here on the Big Show, KTGR. Back to the producers.
All righty, I'll flip back to the college realm of things. I'll go to the spot where College Game Day is going, Indiana and Oregon, and give me Indiana to keep it close. I think that they're doing some pretty good things over there with Mendoza at quarterback, Kirk Cignetti at coach. And look, I know it's weird that cross-country travel. It seems really weird, and there's been some looks at it like, oh, teams going from the Eastern time zone all the way to the Pacific, and how weird it is. And I don't know if Indiana can necessarily win the game, but I do think they'll keep it pretty close. I'm thinking about a field goal game for this one. So give me the Hoosiers.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I still don't know the way that I would lean, so I'm not going to go the other way. Instead, I'll take the homer pick. Give me the Chiefs, -2.5. They'll get it done. I think they'll get it done against the Lions. Hand them their second loss of the year. Don't ask me for a reason why. I just think they'll do it.
Yeah, that's kind of the reason I'm going to go the exact opposite of you. I think for the sake of the show, I have to take the Lions. Even though this is a line where I look at it and go, again, I feel as though it should be clear that the Lions would be favored based on the recent results that we've seen. And the fact that the Chiefs are favored, and we know that Vegas often knows what it's doing, tells you something. And yet, I'm kind of wanting to go with the homer pick of my affinity for the Lions. And so simply for those reasons and to fade Andy, and because I've been a little bit of a Chiefs doubter this year, I think it wouldn't be fair for me not to take this fade when you've presented it to me. So Lions +2.5, I will go with Detroit there.
Okay. Final round. Producers, start us off.
Alrighty. I'll go to the NFL for this one. Feeling decently confident in the pick, but I'll go across the pond for that game and give me the Broncos. Favored by 7 against the Jets. I know there's no hook on that game, but look, the Broncos, they've been pretty impressive so far this year. Picked up a big win in Philadelphia last week, and they've spent the whole week in London. I'm pretty sure they hopped right on the plane from Philadelphia just to go across the pond. So they've been there pretty well, and the Jets just haven't proved a whole lot to me this year. They're capable, but nothing special to me. So I think the Broncos will win that game pretty handily.
Okay, I'm stuck between two, but now I think I've tipped the scales towards this one. This is a key game in the NFC, 49ers Bucks. Both teams 4-1. Bucks are hosting it, and they're the 3-point favorites. But I think I like the Niners here. Look, they've played well despite the injuries. And it's Mac Jones again this weekend, I believe. And look, he's played pretty well. And when you get 3 points in that scenario, I actually like that setup. So give me the Niners on the road in Tampa. Now, that's also another cross-country trip. But I think the Niners, at least with the added value of 3 points, can win the game.
And by the way, the Bucks are the team this week that has no receiving core. They've still got Emeka Egbuka healthy, but everybody else is hurt.
Godwin's out. Everybody else,
Yeah, I think Mike Evans. So that's tricky. I'm going to take the Bucks anyway. It's Baker Mayfield's show. Like, I don't care if he's throwing to Sterling Shepard. I don't care if Bucky Irving is healthy or not. He's not. I think Rashad White and Sterling Shepard I can't speak. Sterling Shepard are enough. That's a hard name to say. Say it 5 times fast, and then you'd start laughing.
Sterling Shepard.
Okay. I guess you can do it. Here's a name. Here, I'll say a name, and I only need to say it once. Baker Mayfield. Bucks -3.
I can't say that one 5 times fast. That's too hard.
That could be tough.
It's a tough one. All right, so there it is, our picks of the week, and we'll see who comes out on top this week. We thank you for joining us on the Big Show all this week. Been a fun one, and we're hoping it's a fun one tomorrow at 11 a.m. as Mizzou takes on Alabama. The Yuengling Tiger Game Day Show begins at 8 a.m. tomorrow. Be sure to join us for that. In a few minutes here, high school football coverage comes on. Rockbridge and Battle tonight, Columbia rivalry. Be sure to stay tuned for that. And we thank you for joining us. We'll be back at Monday at 4 next week to recap it all. He's Brendan. He's producer Ben. I'm Andy. We're done for now.
1851 Underground in Fulton is a unique spot with delicious menu items like the prime rib sandwich, sliced and stacked with pepper jack cheese, caramelized onion, creamy horseradish, and crispy onion straws, all on ciabatta bread. Grab some friends and check out the daily happy hour from 3 to 5, weekends included. Enjoy a craft beer or a cocktail. It's no secret, but it is underground. 1851 Underground.